Idlewild is a special place for Base. A year ago, we were here, right down the hill, launching Base mainnet from a Starlink. And the reason we launched Base here was that we believed when we were launching something as important as Base, we wanted to do it in a place that was beautiful, and we wanted to do it surrounded by creativity. And the incredible trees, the beautiful mountains brought the beauty, and the cocoon of Fest, which is this creative explosion, brought the creativity. And I think for everyone who's in the room right now, you're probably getting a little bit of a sense of that. But what we like to say on the team is that if you plant seeds in a good environment, good things are gonna grow. And boy, have they grown. You saw in the video, last year, there were 40 people in a room at 5 a.m. in the morning launching Base. Today, there are 400 people in this room, and there are tens of thousands of builders all around the world building on Base every single day. And y'all have amazed us with your creativity. Games, music, restaurants, payments, communities, all of it on chain. The creativity is honestly mind-blowing. And with all of that creativity, Base has also grown. A year ago, we were at 0. Base did not exist. Now, 1 year later, there are more than 4 million transactions on Base every single day. There are more than 11 million transacting addresses every single month. And the Base economy has grown to more than $7 billion. This growth, it is the direct result of every single person in this room and every single person watching on the live stream. So thank you for being a part of making Base what it is. Now, I want to highlight a few things that I'm really proud of, and then I'm going to hand it over to the team to talk a little about where do we go next, what happens in year 2. First off, you saw those charts. They're all up and to the right. One thing that's not up and to the right is cost. In the last year, we've brought down the average transaction fee on Base to less than a cent. This is a huge win, and it's been done in collaboration with the Ethereum community and the Optimism community to make sure that there's a scalable platform for all of y'all to build. The second is decentralization. Base is paving the way for what it means for a large public company to come on chain in a decentralized way. We haven't always known what that meant, but we're committed to doing it right, because we believe it's the only way we can build a global on-chain economy that's accessible to everyone, everywhere. And we've made huge strides in collaboration with Optimism on the superchain, the law of chains, and the neutrality commitments that make Base an open place for everyone. And on top of that scalable, decentralized platform, we've seen builders build, and one of our favorite mantras is build and you will be rewarded. And boy, have people been rewarded. We've seen thousands of builders earn tens of millions of dollars for their contributions, for showing up to build this economy that we're all starting to make together. And it's not just developers. We like to say that anyone can be a builder. And this summer, we've seen creators already earn, just in a couple months, $2.5 million from bringing their creativity on chain. It's incredible. And one of the most inspiring things for me about all of this is that it's not just been happening in one place, it's happening all over the world. If you go online today, there are 40 communities in different languages: Spanish, Korean, Vietnamese, Italian, Hindi, all talking about Base, all building on Base in their local language. That sort of global diversity and global inclusivity is absolutely key if we want to build this global economy. And I think a lot of us oftentimes feel like, oh, it's just us working on it. It's just the people in this room. It's just the people in the live stream. But that's starting to change too. People are searching for what is on chain. They're trying to figure out, how can this new economy benefit me? We are starting to bring the world into the secret that all of us know. And so I want to take a second to talk about why on-chain? Why are we investing in this? Why are we building this future? And I have some thoughts, but before I share my thoughts, I want to share a never-before-seen clip from the upcoming Ethereum documentary that I think captures the moment and captures what we're doing incredibly well.
If we build in environments like this then naturally good things just will grow over time. We can use cryptography and this big global network of computers to build a platform, and then people can just come and build things on top. Ethereum could be this invisible infrastructure layer where everyone can just interact with everyone else directly through a network. That it would make it much more possible to live a life completely without interfacing with banks or big evil corporations. It could be used to build this new internet.
Para mí, Ethereum es libertad. Gente disruptiva haciendo cosas para simplemente romper el molde que ya está en el mundo, que la gente dice ya todo está creado, no podemos hacer más nada. Y la comunidad de Ethereum dice, así, mírame.
I've seen banks shut down or take over people's money. For me as an engineer, being programmable money meant being able to build things.
I wake up thinking about what I can do, what I can build, what I can learn. I've never had a structure of how I will sell my work. Artists that haven't been recognized enough, now getting an opportunity.
This radically expands the amount of trust that people can have in working with each other, across borders, across faiths, across languages. It represents this next evolution of coordination for humanity.
Yeah. So what you guys just saw was a clip from the upcoming Ethereum documentary about Vitalik and the incredible Ethereum community that's been built. It's premiering on September 18th, and there's going to be viewing parties all around the world. So we'd love you all to host one. That's an awesome opportunity to bring your friends and family in to understand what we're building. It's also not just showing in real life, it's showing on-chain. And so when it premieres on September 18th, you'll be able to mint it on Base, stream it from anywhere in the world where you're directly supporting the creators and you're opting out of the legacy system. And so, and one more thing, come back today at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you're streaming, everyone else, you'll be naturally kind of shuffled in here. We'll be sitting down with Vitalik Buterin and talking about his future, his vision for the future of Ethereum and where we're going. One more round of applause for that incredible video and the team behind it. And so now from my perspective, today's internet is broken. Builders are building in walled gardens where middlemen take high fees, control what they can do, and they don't have any opt-out or recourse. Creators, they put their creativity onto platforms where those platforms make all of the money, leaving the creators who are actually making the creativity high and dry. And everyone everywhere is limited of what they can use depending on the phone they have, where they're born, and where they live. It's just not working for anyone. And we believe that on-chain can be a better future. Builders can build on an open platform where they're in control. Creators can bring their creativity on-chain, earn directly from it, control it, and make sure that they're the ones benefiting. And everyone everywhere gets the same access, no matter what phone you have, no matter where you're born, no matter where you live. This is the future of the internet, and this is on-chain. And this is what all of us are building together with Base. We are building a global on-chain economy that will increase innovation, creativity, and freedom. And a future where millions of builders, where billions of everyday people come into that economy, benefit from it, and get to make their lives better. And the exciting thing about this economy is that it's happening fast. There's now tens of thousands of builders all around the world. There's hundreds of millions of people who've had a taste of it. And even the slowest moving organizations in the world, Fortune 500 companies, they're coming on chain too. More than 50% of Fortune 500 companies are currently running something on chain today. But at the same time, the reality is that we're just getting started. There are more than 5.5 billion people with an internet connection. There are millions of developers all around the world. And there's a massive opportunity for all of y'all, for all of us to work together to bring the world on chain and build that better future. And so we're done with year one. It's been incredible, and I'm so grateful for all of the contributions that all of y'all have made. As we look towards year two and day one of year two, I want to share 3 things that I want every builder to be thinking about in the year ahead. The first is that it's time for us to make something people want. Yeah. This is a saying from Paul Graham and Y Combinator, and I think it pretty perfectly captures where we are in the moment right now. If we don't make something people want, none of this matters. And we've done so much hard work building the infrastructure to make it possible. Now we have to focus on solving real problems for real people that make their lives better. So make something people want. The second thing, build simple user experiences. We have the tools. We can now do low-cost or free transactions on Base. We have smart wallets that let people onboard instantly. And we have incredibly powerful identity and social graphs that let you come into any app with a full-fledged identity and instantly have all of your friends already there. And we need to leverage these tools not just to build good crypto experiences, but to build experiences that are better than every single app that's existed over the last 20 years. And it's finally possible. So build better. And then the third thing, bring people on chain. This is how we grow the pie. By all of us saying, I'm gonna onboard my friend, my family, my colleagues, my partner, the person who I walk by on the street who looks like they might be interested. If all of us take a second and we say, how do we take the creativity that we're bringing on chain and bring it to someone new every single day, we're going to radically accelerate the rate at which the world comes on chain and benefits from this next generation of the internet. And as we do all of that, I want us to stay based. I talk a lot about what this means, but I just want to say it one more time. It means doing the right thing. It means working hard. It means being optimistic even when the going gets tough. And it means pushing boundaries with creativity. And finally, it means putting the team, the community, the world over the individual. All of us showing up as we're building and staying based, that is how we bring the world on chain. So I'm so excited that y'all are here. Next, we're gonna have a little bit of a set change, and then we're gonna have Tom and our product team come up and talk a little bit about what's coming next in the year ahead. Thank you everyone for being here.
Hello. How's everybody's morning going? Base morning for everybody. All right. Very excited to jump in. So my name is Tom Vieira. I lead product for Base and going to be sharing a little bit more about what's coming next for Base with a few of my colleagues, Roberto, Anika, and Sam. So today, really excited. You heard from Jesse that our mission is to increase creativity, innovation, and freedom through building a global on-chain economy. And so that's the what, and I want to share just a little bit more about how we're going to be accomplishing that together with all of you. So the core is a builder platform. Base at its core is a platform for builders. That means developers, creators, writers. Remember, everybody's a builder. And we want to enable y'all with a powerful platform and good developer tools so that you can build on-chain. The next pillar in our strategy is a vibrant ecosystem of apps that is built by all of y'all. So these are things that will help us bring 1 billion people on chain by apps which are useful, accessible for all. The third piece, of course, on-chain, value is a core part of the protocol, so we need deep capital markets to form, and we're working, and Jesse shared some of our latest metrics and growth there, of course. And then finally, in order to bring everyone everywhere on-chain, we need an open, permissionless, scaled, and decentralized protocol. These are the 4 pillars of our strategy to accomplish the mission. So we're gonna share 5 ways that we're accomplishing this strategy today. So Roberto will talk a little bit about scaling. Anika will share how we're decentralizing Base protocol. Sam's gonna talk about growing the capital markets and bringing international communities on. And then we might have just one more thing at the end for me to share with you all. So without further ado, let me introduce Roberto, who's gonna be talking about scaling the Base protocol. Give him a round of applause, please.
All right, thanks so much for the welcome. I'm so glad to be here. I'm Roberto. I am a Base core developer, and I'm leading the Base scaling efforts. So I'm really pleased that I get to tell you a little about what we're doing to allow Base to handle more and more transactions, all the while keeping transaction fees low. First of all, a show of hands. How many of you here remember this Andre O'Shea created NFT? A huge number, very impressive. This is a serious audience of Base OGs. And the reason is this was part of an incentive we started back when Base was in testnets. This is over a year ago. Base mainnet wasn't even a thing. We encouraged builders to deploy their very first contract on Base, and if you did that, you could go and mint this very cool NFT. So why am I telling you about this now? Might seem like a tangent, but it's not. It ended up resulting in our very first scaling incident. So we thought Base was up to the task at the time, but it turned out it wasn't. We had this inflow of contract creation transactions, it created backlog, and we saw fees spike. I remember this viscerally at the time because I happened to be on call. Lucky me, that tends to be the story of my life. But the end result is just poor experience for people participating in this. Even though it's testnet, you still don't want these kinds of things to happen. But since then, scaling Base has always been incredibly top of mind. We really don't want these situations to arise. And if they do arise, we want to be able to resolve them incredibly quickly. And the good news is we've made a ton of progress since then. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that progress we've been making and some of the future progress we intend to make. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit to the Base mainnet launch. If you were using Base mainnet at launch, you probably saw transaction fees in the 10 cent, 20 cent, maybe even 30 cent range. Pretty good, right? I mean, if you ever transact on mainnet, it's a hell of a lot more. Not good enough, though. We firmly believe that in order to bring everyone on chain, we need to keep fees consistently below 1 cent. And luckily, we had this Dencun upgrade, which took place in March of this year, which allowed us to get there. For those of you who aren't familiar with Dencun, it introduced additional data availability to the L1, and it means we are able to write L2 transactions to the L1 much more cheaply. You can see in this graph, prior to Dencun, it was quite costly, and we saw some very, very big spikes. And in fact, if you're running an L2 transaction at the time, the dominant cost of that transaction was purely these L1 fees. Let's follow to right after Dencun launched, flatline. And this really is near zero. And it's sustained near zero even to this day. So, data availability fees, negligible, wonderful. What happened? If you ran a transaction right after this went live, you saw your transaction fees drop 10 to 100 times. I remember going to Uniswap, running a trade, and paying 1/100th of a cent. I mean, it blew my mind. But, like all these things, not necessarily enough. Things change very, very quickly in this world. What we saw, because of the lower fees, we saw a huge explosion in activity on Base, which shifted the fee structure from L1 fees to what we call execution fees. And you can see that, again, very clearly in this graph. This is right after Dencun launched. Execution fees will spike when the transactions that are incoming into the network exceed what's known as the gas target of the chain. And that's exactly what happened. At one point, execution fees got almost as high as mainnet, which was really embarrassing. So we had to scramble. And what we had to scramble and operate in a manner where we could safely increase the gas target to bring these execution fees back down. And that is exactly what we did. We did it in several increments, kind of illustrated by the purple line here. And I'm happy to say that as of yesterday, we've extended the gas target all the way up to 10 megagasses per second. Not bad, not bad. Right, that is a 4x increase over where we started. And you can see, yellow line right here, flatlining. We're keeping fees consistently below 1 cent. We're not done though. We do see periodic spikes, right? They get lower and lower as we increase the gas target, but they're not going away. So occasionally you do pay more than 1 cent. We don't like that. Furthermore, we're just beginning, right? We're trying to bring everyone on chain. Our goals here are really ambitious, so we have to do better. How much better do we want to do? We're going after this very ambitious number, 1 gigagas per second on base mainnet. Let's put this number in perspective. That's 400 times more throughput than when we started. It's 100 times more throughput than where we are right now. This is more capacity that is currently handled by any existing EVM chain. So why are we picking this big number? Why 1 gigagas? We believe once we reach this limit, it's going to be sort of a broadband moment for blockchain. It's when we are going to be able to bring millions of users on chain on our way to billions of users, okay? So let's talk a little bit about how we're going to do that. It's going to require a lot of work. It's going to require innovations along several different dimensions. Let's start with the simple stuff. Base is in L2. One thing L2s allow you to do is require beefier hardware, and you can do that without compromising the security of the network. Yes, it's a little bit of a pain, you have to spend more if you want to run a base node, but fundamentally, it's absolutely necessary if you want to achieve these levels of throughput. And we're going to try to work with providers, basically, to do this in a way that's sane. We're not going to go require you buy a supercomputer right away, for example. Next thing we need to do is we need to make improvements to execution clients. And the good news there is a lot of work is already ongoing. Teams such as Reth and Nethermind have highly performant clients, and they're making improvements to these every day. We're going to need to accelerate that in order to hit this kind of throughput, though. Finally, and probably most importantly, we need protocol improvements. And this is both on the L1 as well as on the L2. You know, I told you data availability right now, data costs are free, right? Simply not going to stay that way. In fact, if we even just double from where we are now, we'll start to see data fees rising again. We're going to have to pursue things like peer DAS and dank sharding. On the L2 side, we're going to also have to do things like improve the amount of compression we apply to L2 transactions so that we can better utilize that data availability on the L1 to continue to push costs down and allow us to get to this level of scale. But look, this is just tip of the iceberg. Lots and lots of work to do. And by the way, this isn't something Base team can do on our own. It's just simply impossible for such a small team to deliver this kind of improvement. So we're structuring this as a broad partnership. We're working very closely with our friends at OP Labs on the L2 protocol improvements, for example. We collaborate with the Ethereum Foundation to help push along peer DAS, dank sharding, and other relevant L1 protocol improvements. We're working very closely with the Paradigm Reth team to accelerate execution client improvements. And really, we want to broaden this partnership, maybe even to some of the folks that are in this room. So hopefully, many more people are interested in driving this. We're not just scaling Base here. You know, we like to think about this as scaling Ethereum. These benefits are not just going to benefit us, they're going to benefit the entire broader EVM and Ethereum ecosystem. All right, thanks for the opportunity to present today. My time is done. Now I'm going to hand it over to Anika, who is going to tell us more about Base decentralization.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roberto, and thank you all for being here today and everyone tuning in online. The energy here is amazing. Hi, everyone. I'm Anika, and I have had the pleasure and privilege of being a core contributor on the Base team since before it launched. And in the past 6 months, I've actually transitioned from engineering to product to focus on our decentralization roadmap, given it's such a core priority for our team. As Jesse shared earlier, our mission is to create a global on-chain economy. Now, we believe this is only possible with a decentralized platform. If we have centralized platforms, then those centralized actors can choose to restrict or even prohibit access to these platforms. So to make Base for everyone, we must decentralize. Decentralization has been a top priority for us since the beginning. This is why we decided to build Base as an Ethereum layer 2, so that we could build on the most secure and decentralized layer 1. This is why we've built on the open source OP stack. This is why we uphold key neutrality principles. And this is why we have committed to the law of chains with optimism. We measure our progress towards decentralization through Vitalik's framework. Now, there's a lot of nuance between these stages, but at a high level, at stage 0, we're decentralized, but we still have training wheels on to ensure that we maintain security. In stage 1, we have more decentralization, and including a fault-proof implementation as well as broader community participation. And in stage 2, we're fully taking off the training wheels to become as decentralized as Ethereum. So Base was stage 0 at launch with the goal of getting to stage 2. Last week, we achieved a significant milestone towards stage 1 by launching fault proofs on testnet. Yeah, shout out to the whole team who contributed to that. And I'm super excited to share but before the end of the year, we're bringing Base to full stage 1 decentralization. In 2025 and beyond, we'll continue decentralizing to get to stage 2 and greater decentralization. Now, scaling and decentralizing the core Base protocol is what will enable millions and billions of people to get on chain. But to realize this vision, we actually need to make it both possible and easy for anyone to get on chain to make that possible. So now I'm going to hand it off to Sam, who's going to be sharing how we're making Base work for anyone around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Anika. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam. I lead Base's ecosystem team. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how we're globalizing Base to make it work for everyone. As everyone in this room knows, moving on-chain can and will make people's financial lives better. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of friction in being able to bring people on-chain, as a lot of people's assets are locked up in the traditional financial system, held in cash and in bank accounts. In order to bring these people on-chain, we have to create a seamless way for them to bring their assets with them. And so, in order to help facilitate that, I'm really excited to share that over 190 countries now have direct on-ramps to Base. We believe that coming on-chain should be easy, secure, and shouldn't require you to rewrite your entire financial life. Our on-ramp partner showed on the screen now allow almost anyone, anywhere in the world, to directly on-ramp to Base, regardless of whatever their starting point is. But it takes much more than just on-ramps. To update the system, we also need to bring every currency on-chain. Today, as part of this effort, we're excited to share that URC, issued by Circle, has just launched on Base. URC is a euro-denominated stablecoin that is designed to be redeemable one-for-one with off-chain euros. It's compliant with new EU regulation, and it's also free to send on Coinbase Wallet or from Coinbase on to Base. URC will also be immediately accessible on Base, as dozens of builders have already committed to integrate it into their dApps. What this means now is that along with USDC, the top 2 most traded off-chain currencies are now available on Base as stablecoins. But this is just the beginning. We're really excited about the role stablecoins will play in the future, and we're going to work to bring not just the top 2, not just the top 10, but eventually the top 100 on-chain as well. On-ramps and stablecoins are critical, but in order to properly have an on-chain global capital market, it also requires significant social infrastructure to power it. As a result, we have focused since launch on driving connectivity in our ecosystem. I'm proud to share that there's been a Base meetup or hackathon every single weekend this year. We're excited to double down on that and are expecting to see over 100 community-driven events just this quarter. We're grateful for these community leaders and are excited for Base to continue to foster an even stronger global network of capital and builders on-chain. In addition to globalizing our platform, we're also focused on helping our builders have differentiated access to users. We've heard time and time again from basically every builder we speak with, whether it's their top or one of their top concerns, is how are they going to get their app in front of users? How are they going to cut through all the noise on-chain? That's why I'm excited to share more details about how we're unleashing distribution with our recently announced on-chain content network. Through our on-chain content network, we've now given any builder on Base the ability to reach millions of monthly users every single day. We have done this by working with 12 leading consumer platforms across the Base ecosystem. These platforms have all committed to programmatically displaying Base-curated on-chain activations and products directly on their front pages and on their apps. The great news for builders is that all the projects that will be surfaced across this network will come directly from our on-chain registry, which, if anyone doesn't know, that is our open source database that any builder or creator can submit their project to. What this means now is that any Base builder can directly leverage this distribution network. And while we're early, so far the results have been really promising. We've already seen hundreds of different builders submit submissions to the on-chain registry, many of which have already been featured across the on-chain network. And so if you've got a project to share and you're sitting here thinking, how do I get more eyeballs on it? Scan this code and submit your project to the on-chain registry today. Before I go, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's participated in this. This is obviously something we couldn't have done alone, and we're really excited to see how far we can bring this together. Next up, I'll pass it to Tom to chat through one more thing.
All right, nice. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, let's hear it for Sam, Roberto, and Anika. Very cool. All right, so we heard a little bit about scaling, decentralizing, and growing our platform and offering all around the world, but wanted to share one more thing with y'all today that is something that the Base team has been cooking on, Base names. So I'm excited to introduce this to y'all. All right, yes, hold your applause. We'll get back to it, right? So, on-chain, it's open for anyone. It's trustless, it's permissionless. We hear these terms. This has a lot of benefits, but it also has some drawbacks. So by a show of hands, let me see how many of y'all have experienced some of these problems. And keep your hands up as I ask. And we've already got some hands. Yeah, there are problems. And feel free to play along at home. So who has had users for their on-chain app but didn't know who they were? Raise your hands. All right, that is a lot of hands. Keep them up, keep them up. You were looking to build, but you needed to find people to build with that had complementary skill sets to your skills. All right, some more hands. Yep, keep those up. And anytime that you've been wanting to send funds to a wallet, but you weren't sure you had the exact right address. All right, I might have 10 to the 18th problems, but on-chain identity won't be one. So to build a truly open internet, today we're introducing Base names. So you can see here, I'm able to come in, search for a name, leveraging the ENS platform. I'm able to connect my wallet. And our vision for Base names is that it is the connective tissue that will enable builders to connect with other builders, builders to more closely connect with the people, not users, but their people that are using y'all's apps. Come in here. Congrats, this Base name is mine, so now I have tom.base.eth. Huge shout out to the team too. I see some familiar faces in the audience that have been cooking on this over the past few weeks, or past few months even, working really hard to bring this to fruition. You can see here I can fill out some information about myself, and this is pretty cool. I can start to attest on-chain to the skills that I have. And of course, these should be backed up by bona fides on-chain, the credentials and contributions that I've made, pulling in other signals from across the Base and Superchain and beyond ecosystem into a holistic, united builder profile. We'll go next slide. It's the remix. All right, we'll advance one slide. So, the idea here, as I was saying, was the idea of being able to connect with other builders and find people to build with is one of the main problems that we want to solve. We want you to be able to connect more closely with builders, people in your community. And then of course, make it easy to send. Of course, this is something that we've probably all experienced, maybe double, triple checking the address that we are sending to make sure that it's right. With a human readable name, it becomes a lot more accessible, of course, and fulfilling and living up to the open source and decentralized ethos that we want to embody. We're leveraging ENS platform, to build this in an open source, open way on-chain. So, I'm excited to share. Everybody get this QR code. Everyone here in attendance at BaseCamp is able to register and claim their base name now. Please go ahead. For anyone at home or otherwise, submit info and we'll let you know when it goes live just in the next couple weeks here. So really excited. Come find me or someone else from the Base team to give feedback and share what your thoughts are on base names. And I'm excited to see y'all on chain. I'll leave it up for like 20 more seconds, then we'll keep it moving. All right. Nice. All right, so I hope this gives you just a taste of what the Base team has been up to. And of course, this is a small subset of what we're building at Base. And truly, it's a very small subset of what all of y'all are building on Base. And it just wouldn't be possible without the builder ecosystem, all the app developers and creators and community folks, and just all the familiar faces and some new faces that I see looking out in the audience. We're so fortunate and so grateful to be building with all of y'all. So online, beyond, we're excited to keep building. And next up, we'll be hearing from one of the biggest builders on Base as Brian shares more about what Coinbase is doing to bring the world on chain. So one more time, round of applause for my colleagues, and we'll keep it moving. Cheers, y'all.
Hello again. Oh, hello again, everybody. How's it going? Base names are pretty awesome, and I'm excited for this awesome next section. We've got the most OG builder on Base. I call myself builder number 1 on Base. I call Brian builder number 0. Really, we would not be here without his incredible leadership over the last decade building Coinbase and letting us bring Base into the world. So welcome, Brian.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for having me. Good to see you, Jesse.
So, Brian, I want to talk a little bit about how you're thinking about on-chain. You've talked a lot about updating the financial system, but now we're starting to talk about the internet moving on-chain. How do you see that?
Yeah, well, okay, so first of all, really excited to be here. I love hanging out with builders, and these are my people. So the early folks that jump in and try to create this stuff are what end up changing the world, and we appreciate all of you coming in and doing that. Okay, so yeah, how are we gonna build more on chain? Well, it's a little bit like the early days of the internet, right? I mean, when the internet first came out, we had everything was on the command line, and TCP/IP. We had these raw protocols, but we didn't have the web browser, a mass market interface. We didn't have SSL for better security. We didn't have domain names for human readable names instead of IP addresses. And we didn't have fiber optic cables either. We had dial-up modems. And so you can kind of see all these pieces now coming together in the on-chain economy. We've got ENS, which is the human readable names. We've got Base, which is layer 2, which is kind of like the fiber optic cables of the internet. We've started to get the web browser moment, the Netscape moment, right? We've had things like wallet.coinbase.com launched, and the self-custodial wallets are just getting better and better. Things like Smart Wallet are allowing users to onboard with low friction now, where you don't have to remember a 12-word phrase. So these tools are getting better and better. And, ultimately, I think this is what's going to drive economic freedom. That's why I got excited about crypto. That's Coinbase's mission, is to increase economic freedom in the world. And crypto is just perfectly suited to that, because economic freedom kind of has all these pillars to it, like property rights, stable currency, free trade, permissionless access for everyone. And crypto is kind of the perfect tool that fits into that as more and more of these applications come on chain, right? So property rights, Anybody can now store their own wealth in a way that it can't be taken away from them with a self-custodial wallet. Onboarding with smart wallets makes that mass market, right? Having a stable currency, okay, now we have trusted stable coins like USDC, or even things like Bitcoin, which are really truly inflation resistant, right? Free trade, well, crypto is inherently global. In the past, you had to onboard customers through these heavy kind of regulation, KYC type interfaces. Then you had to go one country at a time, learning the rules, establishing a local entity, having the right bank partnerships. With these self-custodial wallets, it's more like permissionless innovation on the internet. You can launch it as a software product, and it works for everybody globally on day one. I think you're going to get better user experiences, better NPS scores, because it doesn't have all of that heavy onboarding requirements that require you to give up all your private information. Sometimes these companies lose it and everything like that. So self-custodial wallets are now getting to that place where we're having that Netscape moment. And then, it's permissionless, right? So anybody in the world who has a smartphone and internet connection can now start to participate in this. And having good financial services is a good starting point as a foundation, but eventually it'll be all kinds of different applications. And we'll see, the next Spotify or YouTube or Instagram or Uber or Airbnb will get built in a way that's on-chain, and the early people contributing content, creatives, or helping those networks come to fruition are going to get to be rewarded for participating and helping build that. So that's fundamentally a game changer. That's why we call it Web3. I think it is the future of the internet, and it's going to be going way beyond just financial services.
I love it. And I think you're talking to a room of builders who love it as well. But one thing that you have kind of different than a bunch of folks in this room is that you've seen the whole history of crypto. You've literally been here since day one. You've been building the business that's been pushing it forward. Where do you think we are in kind of the overall adoption cycle of this technology?
Well, I'm not that old, but I'm getting up there. I guess I'm 41 now, so I feel like I've been building in this space since, Coinbase really got incorporated in 2012, and I was kind of hacking on a prototype in 2011, nights and weekends on my laptop, just like probably many of you are right now. So, a while back, I wrote this, in terms of where we are in the cycle, I wrote this blog post called The Coinbase Secret Master Plan. And I tried to make this comparison to the internet, where the internet started as just a decentralized protocol, TCP/IP. And then we had to get some of the infrastructure built, like laying down the fiber optic cables, getting broadband. It had a few other pieces, and eventually got to that mass market interface. And you could kind of ballpark it by how many users it had. Like when the internet was just like a raw decentralized protocol that was pretty technical, people could only use it. It had like 1 million people, that got connected. And then we got fiber, and it got into the 10 or 100 million. We eventually had the Netscape moment. And now a little more than half of the world has internet access, and they use it every day. So by that measure, crypto has about 400 million people who've used crypto globally. So we're halfway to 1 billion, which is in some ways, that's an incredible achievement in the last 10 years. And it's following those early adoption of internet graphs pretty closely from what I've seen. But I still think it's considered to be fringe. It's considered to be too difficult to use for the average person. It's considered, it's confusing. If you have, Ethereum on Polygon and Base and Armstrong and Layer 1, how do we make that problem just go away, right? So that it's simpler for people. And we need to probably develop like a payment protocol that every time you go to pay someone, it does a handshake in the background, and it says, hey, what do you accept and what do I have? Maybe doing a quick exchange or bridge if you need to, but that whole thing should just be transparent to the user. The super chain vision, all those kind of things. So those are some of the pieces that I think it'll take for it to really go mainstream. And one thing I think everybody in the audience here can do is like give us feedback on where Coinbase Wallet or could be better integrated, or Base could be providing some kind of tool right out of the box. We're trying to catalog all these and make them easy to use in Coinbase Developer Platform, CDP. I hope you all get a chance to check it out and use some of those tools in this process. So give us feedback. But then the thing that'll really help this get to 1 billion people and beyond using it every day and benefiting from it is like the applications that you all are building. And I think for a lot of people, they're going to come into crypto, and not because they are really passionate about crypto itself. It's just this is the best way to get paid. It's the best way to have a relationship with their audience. And so they'll use it maybe without even knowing it's crypto at some point. They just want to participate in the global economy and build cool stuff.
I love it. And I love the focus that you have on builders and developers. But from where I sit, I mean, we've been working together for a long time. It feels like that focus has really increased in the last 6 months. Like it feels like every day you're waking up over the last 6 months and just thinking about how do we better serve developers? How do we better serve builders? I'm curious, like, what's driving that for you? How are you feeling about it? What are you seeing?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of an engineer at heart, and so I get excited about tools like this that allow people to build things in a better way. It's just like the early internet, all these developers are like, yeah, I want to build on the open platform instead of building on some proprietary platform. Like, I don't know if you all ever studied the early days of the internet, but there was like, proprietary versions of the internet. Like Microsoft actually had something called, I think it was called Microsoft Network or something. And there's like, you could build on top of Deutsche Telekom or something, but all the best engineers wanted to build on an open network, even if it was a little harder at the beginning, because that you know that it couldn't get shut down. You know that it could reach the most number of people globally. So yeah, Jesse, you and I have been on a big push here for a while to really make Coinbase more and more on-chain, make on-chain the default for new products that we build. And it started with simple stuff where we're like, okay, let's hold more of our corporate balance sheet on-chain. that's like an easy place to start. Then, we started early on with things like Coinbase Wallet, Coinbase Commerce, those have continued to evolve. But we started even doing things like some of the marketing campaigns we've been putting out, like On-Chain Summer. Hopefully, you all have gotten a chance to participate in that. That's, these are a lot of early adopters, a lot of early use cases. We got to force ourselves and the community to go try it, and then find the bugs, the kinks. It basically makes the products better, right? Or the Mr. Miggles campaign. Actually, I don't know if any of you saw that, but that was a really great example of, it wasn't just like a marketing video we blasted out on TV. It had a clear call to action, which allowed people to come in and then mint something on chain and then remix it. And like, it forced us to make our tools, our products better, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that's starting to happen. Jesse, you and I have been doing a big push also. Like every engineer, we're trying to get every engineer at Coinbase to deploy a smart contract, right? And we have some people at Coinbase that are deeply, on-chain native. That's like what they've been doing before, and they came in. But we also have a bunch of engineers working on more standard stuff, and there aren't enough on-chain developers in the world. We need to train more of them. And so, we've created these tools internally where every engineer can onboard, learn how to deploy a smart contract on Base. We've hosted like live events where everybody does it. I was able to go into it, so I know that it works. And yeah, if we can just keep building some of those best-in-class tools like Coinbase Developer Platform, cdp.coinbase.com, that's going to allow more and more of our infrastructure to be built on chain over time. And I think that's the future of crypto. We needed the early centralized stuff to just allow like a bunch of the fiat money in the world to come into crypto. But now that we're getting more and more of that happening with retail and institutions, and that'll continue to be a huge business for a long time, by the way, but there's a lot more money in the world we need to bring on chain. But now that we're starting to have a critical mass of money on chain, the crypto to crypto payments should be the default. Like, that's where you can get this real innovation from these new tools. And so we need to make sure Coinbase pivots to make that the default.
Yeah, I love it. And one fun anecdote about Brian and building on chain is it was a 3-day weekend, I think earlier this year, a few months ago. And on Sunday night, Brian pings me. He's like, Jesse, what's the best guide for starting to write smart contracts? And on Monday, he sat down and just wrote smart contracts. Like, I pulled in a smart contract engineer from our team. They paired for a few hours, and he was just getting in the code, figuring out, like, what are we doing with this, and how do we make better tools for developers? So I want to jump to just kind of where we're going in the future. I'm curious on two things. One is kind of how do you think about what we need to do to kind of fully bring Coinbase on-chain? And then two, what are the products that you're most excited about right now as it relates to developers?
Yeah, well, a couple of them. So I think obviously Base is a huge foundation here to just help every transaction be under 1 second, 1 cent. It's going to continue to scale, and that's a huge piece of the puzzle. So let's not underestimate that first. We want Coinbase Wallet to be a big piece of this foundation as well. I think Coinbase Wallet is going to evolve over time. Like the meaning, it's kind of like your iPhone is not just a phone to make phone calls. It does all kinds of things. Like a wallet is not going to be just a place to store your money. And so you can imagine all kinds of things people are going to want to do in that wallet. They're going to want to see what's happening on chain today, interact with it, remix it, from almost like a social feed. But it can include like monetization elements that are really powerful. purchasing things right in the feed, upvoting and liking, minting things right in the feed. And you could imagine the next Instagram, TikTok, X, Spotify, all these things, like those are going to be built on chain, right? And just indexing all that information, making it in a really nice feed, I think is a big piece of it. Even messaging, right? I mean, there's always been this spam problem with email and messaging, and so you should be able to attach a payment to your messages and like sort your inbox by largest amount of money. And so you can, if someone has they want to get your attention and they want you to respond, like, let them attach money to that as an example. And so I think we'll see the self-custodial Coinbase wallet app move to being kind of like an on-chain super app over time, which I'm really excited about. A couple other, obviously smart wallets is a really big piece of this, right? Simplifying that onboarding. We need to get that integrated everywhere in our products, but also in third-party apps, or every third-party company that wants their user to have a crypto wallet could benefit from that. And then there's one other really cool one I've been playing with recently. It's still pretty new, but we're playing with this tap to pay functionality in Coinbase Wallet so that it uses NFC. You can just put your phones close together. And unfortunately, Apple doesn't give us 100% of the cool APIs that they use themselves, but we have enough tools now where I think we can make just like peer-to-peer payments, that kind of thing, much, much easier on crypto. Today, it's still too hard to do that. And so you can see all these Lego pieces coming together, right? It's like trusted stablecoin, global transactions under 1 second, 1 cent, tap to pay, smart wallets. The pieces are coming together where you can start to see, like, I think we're on the cusp of just consumer utility happening in crypto. And that's what's ultimately going to bring economic freedom to all these people. It can't be just about trading and having this speculative asset class, because there's not enough people in the world who have disposable income to just focus on trading. They need to live their lives. They need to earn a living. They need to pay for food, transportation, housing, right? And so if we're going to get more and more of global GDP running on crypto rails, that's the kind of stuff we need to go solve next.
I absolutely love it. One last question for you before we say goodbye. You've been a builder for a long time. Do you have any advice for folks who are early in their kind of builder career about how to approach kind of ups and downs in the crypto market and in general just being a founder?
Yeah, well, being entrepreneurship and building stuff is inherently stepping into the unknown, and that is the hard part. You don't really know if it's going to work. Sometimes you don't even really know if what you're building people want. And so you have to just continue to take steps into the unknown. I've used this analogy before of like, you're trying to ascend a mountain and it's shrouded in fog, and you can only see a few steps ahead of you. So you can't see the path to the top of the mountain. So most people, they just hang out at the bottom of the mountain. They never do anything because they're like, I don't know, it's super unclear, it's scary, it's risky, whatever. And the nature of entrepreneurship is you got to take a few steps into the fog. And so if you can only see 3 steps ahead of you, take 3 steps, and then you'll see 3 more steps ahead of you. And sometimes you'll end up at like a local maximum, or you'll have to backtrack, and you were on the wrong path. You got to come back to try it another way. But basically, Paul Graham had this great, and he still has this great saying, action produces information. So if you're not sure what to do, just do anything, and that will give you information. There's many times in the early days of Coinbase, actually many people don't know this, before Coinbase really got built, I worked on another app with a friend of mine that was just called Bitcoin Wallet, I think, and we built an Android app and it ran the whole node right on the phone. And I remember we worked on it for like a while in our free time. We shipped it, and the minute we shipped it, I was like, oh my god, we built it wrong, because it seems obvious now in hindsight, but at the time we were just tinkering around. And it was a light node, but even with a light node, running the full thing on your Android phone, like sometimes if you hadn't opened the app in a while, it would take like 25 minutes to sync to the latest block. And so, it was like, and it's easy to look back now, but at the time, just building that is what helped me realize, oh, someone's going to have to build like a hosted Bitcoin wallet that does all the backups and security and sync with the chain and everything for you, kind of like Gmail does for email. And, so anyway, just if you don't know what to do anything. Action will produce information. It'll help you see a few more steps on the mountain to see if you're pointed in the right direction or not. And then at that point, it's just about determination, resilience, and moving from one setback to the next with enthusiasm.
I love it, and it's so inspiring to see how far we've come from that 25-minute phone sync to the instant global free transactions that we have on Base today. So thank you, Brian, for being here, and so excited to keep building with you.
Awesome. Thanks, all.
And Brian talked high level about what are we doing for developers and builders, but I want to turn it over to Namil, who's been running the Coinbase developer platform, to talk a little bit about all of the incredible tools that they're starting to build to make it incredibly easy to build on Base.
Thank you, Jesse. So this is the group that's going to help us get to 1 billion people on chain. We have 10,000 plus people in streaming, and we have this whole room here that are the earliest builders, like Brian was talking about. Today, blockchain development is a pain. It's slow. There's security bugs to worry about. There's regulatory stuff. Even bigger than that is most users have a very hard time onboarding into the on-chain economy. That's what we want to change. So what Amazon did for infrastructure, what Stripe did for payments, CDP, or Coinbase Developer Platform, wants to do for on-chain development. We have 2 parts of our goal. We want to make it dead simple to build and to use on-chain applications. And I'll talk about both of those. On the build side, we want to make it super simple for you as a builder to be able to launch an app. We want to make it easier to build on-chain than it is to build online. But that's not enough. We need to make it so easy for your users to do it that it's very easy for them to get onboarded, come to your app, and go on-chain very easily. So I want to talk about a few products that we think are going to transform the on-chain economy, and you can help us bring it to the world. First, building on-chain apps is hard. What we want to do is enable you to go from get in it to get pushed to production in less than 15 minutes. And to start off, we have On-Chain Kit, which lets you have a few lines of React and launch on-chain components. This means that you can launch a swap component, a Farcaster frame, decentralized identity in just a few lines of React. There's no backend server. There's no node with the magic of the Coinbase Developer Platform APIs. And today, we have PartyDAO just announced last week. They have 100,000 users, and they are using their on-chain swap, our component, as their primary way for swaps. We're really excited to see where they go. We're really excited to see where you take this. And I just want to point out the 2 folks in the room, Leo Zazamia and Tina Hay, who are the leaders for this product. They're so excited to talk to you and get more feedback. Woo! We're hungry to hear from you for what components you want next. And we think that the future of on-chain apps are going to be built on On-Chain Kit. You heard about Smart Wallet. You're going to hear a lot more today. But I want to start with the first thing. Seed phrases suck, and we want to kill the seed phrase. Let me repeat that. We want to kill the seed phrase. Woo! So there's 3 things I want to remind you about the Smart Wallet. One is there's no seed phrase. Number 2 is there's no app. And number 3 is one of the hardest parts for developers is onboarding. And you have the ability to get 100 million users on Coinbase with 100 billion already in their crypto account very easily through our Magic Spend feature. We're going to have Sid come up and talk about this in detail a little bit later today, but you can find this today at cdp.coinbase.com. Last thing is, let's talk about gas. On the gas side, can you imagine for a minute if Instagram, if TikTok, if Tinder, these apps, for every action you want to do in the app, you had to pay a fee or click a pop-up? That is the on-chain experience today, and we are not getting to 1 billion users on-chain with that experience. With Paymaster, what you get to do is you get to subsidize those fees for a user. So even if it's 1 cent and it's come down a lot from what, let's say, Ethereum Layer 1, this is still a pain point for users. And so you can go ahead and subsidize it. And as an example, block lords, there's no gas mentioned anywhere in their interaction, even though they have 250,000 users that are going and playing this game today. And we're really excited to have block lords in the audience as well. If you're interested in learning more about subsidizing gas for your users, please talk to Nick Prince, who's also in the crowd, and he'll happily talk to you about Paymaster and teams that have used it. There is so much more coming from the Coinbase Developer Platform. There's global on-ramps, and here we're looking to pay you for on-ramping people into crypto, especially if you put them into stables. We have an API-based multi-sig wallet that's going to connect to an AI bot if you need a wallet for your AI bot, but it's also going to be there if you have lots of money and you want to make sure that you have enterprise-grade security. We're also looking at mass payouts. How can you pay tens of thousands or millions of people on-chain just with an email address or with a phone number? So first, you can find the CDP products at cdp.coinbase.com. And then the second is, we're incredibly humble. We're really, really eager to hear your feedback in terms of these products, but also what other pain points you have. And our job is to make it as easy as possible for you to get on-chain, and then as easy as possible for your users to use your products. You can ping me. I'll be all around the rest of today on Farcaster, Telegram, Twitter, and really excited to get to talk to you more. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Max and Sid from our Coinbase consumer team. Woo! That was awesome.
Hello, BaseCamp. My name is Max Brandsburg, and I lead consumer products at Coinbase. Now, you've heard from a lot of amazing people today on important topics, and Sid and I have the good fortune of being able to talk to you about how we're evolving our consumer products to bring 1 billion people on-chain. Let's start with what you think of when you hear consumer products at Coinbase. You probably think of this big blue app. This is the app we launched over a decade ago to enable people to buy and hold crypto. And for much of the last decade, this is where our consumer efforts have been focused. We've been working hard in the trenches to get the bank partnerships, to integrate the blockchains, to get the licenses in every state in the US and many countries around the world, advocating with different governments all around the world to enable sensible crypto policy. It's not always glamorous work, but it's laid the foundations for the next phase. With that, we now have more than 52 million Americans who have held crypto, many of them who bought it for the first time on Coinbase. Coinbase is powering 18 Bitcoin and ETH ETFs. And my favorite, we have over 1 million Stand With Crypto advocates who have raised their hands to say, we want to fight for more sensible crypto policies in the US. This has been hard work for many years in the trenches, but it's laid the foundations for what we can do next. And we're not satisfied with where we are. So we're now turning our attention to the next frontier. And that is to bring 1 billion people on-chain. We believe that the on-chain economy will create more innovation, more creativity, more freedom for people than we've ever seen before. We believe that you all, this community, is building apps that will create tremendous value for people all around the world. We believe that together, we can build a better internet. That's why my focus, Sid's focus, our entire team is so focused on bringing 1 billion users on-chain. And we're taking all of that firepower that we put behind that big blue app over the last decade to focus on this critical mission for the next decade. We're doing that in a number of different ways, but 2 that I want to highlight are building the products and features that make it easier for people to get on-chain, and secondly, pointing our marketing engine at raising awareness, at amplifying this community's voices to the outside world and bringing new audiences into the on-chain economy. First, our products. So Coinbase Wallet is now a world-class self-custody wallet that enables people all over the world to access the apps that you guys are building as easily and seamlessly as possible. We've also expanded from there to launch a Coinbase Wallet web app that enables easy discovery of apps and content from across the ecosystem. And it's not just Coinbase Wallet. We're also bringing our Coinbase retail users on-chain. You might have seen the launch earlier this week, where anyone can send any asset from the Coinbase retail app on Base for free. And you don't even have to send it on-chain. Now you can interact with any app on-chain with the smart wallet and transact directly from your Coinbase custodial balance with a feature we call Magic Spend. So if it wasn't clear before, it should be clear that our product teams are all in on-chain. And beyond that, we're bringing the full force of Coinbase's marketing engine to bring the next wave of users on-chain as well. And that's not just talking to audiences like this one in this room. It's getting out there and pounding the pavement with the next wave of users. So for example, we have a partnership with the NBA where we go in stadiums around the country. We run experiences that get users to mint creative experiences on-chain. And that's bringing basketball fans on-chain. We're also pounding the pavement in DC, talking to policymakers, showing off the important apps that you all are building, and that's bringing the DC segment on-chain. Every quarter as a public company, when we announce earnings, we put our earnings on-chain, bringing the TradFi community on-chain as well. And our marketing campaigns themselves, those creative campaigns that you've seen, we're putting those on-chain too, so everyone can have a piece of this important moment. And those marketing campaigns are so cool, I wanted to share with you one of my favorites.
Being on the penny used to mean something. It was worthy compensation for thoughts. But now it's useless fodder for petty wishes tossed out like common garbage 120 million times a year, even though it's still technically money. It's tortured, humiliated, forgotten. The currency of choice for paying people back with spite. This is $50, by the way.
Why are you doing this?
Get me off this piece of scrap metal. Make me digital. Let me soar. Imagine me actually paying for stuff amongst the people again, instantly traveling the globe without fees or friction. Old Abe just wants to be good at being money again. Is that too much to ask for an old top-hatted dreamer?
So we're not only building awareness with great ads like that, but we're also actually activating people on-chain. Thousands of people minted that ad and became members of the on-chain economy. Now, if it's not clear that we're doing everything we can to bring the mass market on-chain, there's one more launch coming soon that I want to tell you about. Coinbase One is coming on-chain too. So the nearly 500,000 members of Coinbase One, some of our most valuable, most engaged users on Coinbase, can now verify any wallet and use that wallet to transact for free on Base with the apps and services that you all are building. And over time, we want to bring the builders into this community, into this membership, enable more benefits for those highly engaged users, and enable more growth for your apps. Finally, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you, to all the base builders, to BaseCamp. It's amazing being here with all of you. And I have to say, as we look ahead at the next decade of our consumer strategy, one thing you'll see is that we absolutely cannot do this unless we're doing it together. Every app, every chain, every wallet. If we come together over the next decade to build for this important mission, I'm confident we will bring 1 billion users on-chain. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Hey, folks, so good to see all of you. I'm Sid. I'm the head of product for Coinbase Wallet. I just want to start off by saying I'm just so pumped to be with all of you here at BaseCamp. Can't wait to hang out and meet all of you. So welcome. And so as I start, before I jump into all the product demos I wanted to show you, I wanted to just take a minute to build some shared empathy as we're all here together for all of us, but also for all of our users of our apps, and show you what it's been like and reflect on what it's like to go on-chain. So for the last 5 years, all of us have done this. A user discovers your app, right? They see a cool app on Twitter or Facebook. They go check it out. And the first thing that app tells them is, oh, okay, go install a wallet. Then you go to the wallet, so they go to the App Store, install a wallet, and then the wallet is like, okay, now write down a recovery phrase. What's that, right? And then the user's like, okay, I'll do that. Then the wallet says, go to the centralized exchange to buy some crypto. So you go to the centralized exchange, you buy the crypto, then you're back to the wallet, and you're like, okay, now I can get started, right? And so you go to the app, and then you're about to submit your first transaction, and then the app is like, oh, you need $10 of gas. What's gas? What the hell is that? And so, and by the way, if the network is busy because this app is successful, that $10 could be $100 or $500. And there's no way anyone's doing that, right? Like, none of this makes sense. And yet we've all done it, and our users have had to go through this. So we're not taking 1 billion users on chain like this, and this has to change. And so what we want to show you today is a couple of big innovations that we think are really going to reset and reboot this whole experience and make it super easy to go on chain. So the first, as you all know, is Base. You all know Base, we're at BaseCamp. So Base has been leading the wave of L2s that are just making it fast, cheap, and easy to transact on-chain. And then the other big innovation is smart wallets. So we launched smart wallets just a couple of months ago, and we're already seeing how much easier it is to take users on-chain. We've taken all of the nonsense, all of the crap, pardon my French, from the old onboarding journeys, and we've simplified it, we've distilled it down with a bunch of technical innovation to just 3 easy steps. You see an app, you create a wallet right there in a few seconds, you submit the transaction, and boom, you're done. And folks, this is your funnel. If you're building an app, this is how users get started on your app. It's so much better now, and we can't wait to show you. So let's take a look at this one app. It's called Moshi. I think, I know there's a bunch of Moshi fans already. I think the builder, Brian and his team, they're here in the audience today. Moshi was launched a few weeks ago on Base, and it uses Smart Wallet. So let's imagine this journey, right? Like, a user hears about Moshi, they're like, oh, this looks cool. It's like, it's like an Instagram, but it's on-chain. I get paid for the photos I put on-chain. They install the app, it looks really cool. You hit get started, and the first thing you do is you create a wallet, but you do it right there. Like, right there, without leaving the experience, you just quickly create a wallet with your Face ID. It takes about 5 seconds, and that's it. You're done, you're ready to use the app. So then you actually get dropped back into the app, and you put up a photo. Now, Moshi's using another cool innovation, which is Paymasters and sponsored gas. So, Base gas only costs 1 or 2 cents, so Moshi just pays for it. And so the user was able to put up their photo in just another 4 or 5 seconds. And now the photo's in their feed, and as soon as one of their friends likes what they see, they hit the mint button, this user starts to receive micropayments because, Base makes it easy to do a fast, cheap transaction. And so that's it. The user went from just installing an app to getting paid on chain in a few minutes. And this is like a consumer-ready, mass market-friendly app that all of us could build today with this new tooling. And it's kind of amazing to see. And it's so easy now, I think your mom could do it. Right? Like, don't even take my word for it, just check this out. So coincidentally, just this week, we had a user Alex, who he wanted to take his mom on chain and introduce her to some cool apps on chain. And so he actually, believe it or not, had a little notebook out and was like, I'm going to take notes on how bad the experience is just so I could share feedback. Plot twist, his mom got on chain in 10 seconds. And so, he couldn't believe it himself. He was like, look, it's that easy. And this was with Smart Wallet on Base. We're also seeing this across all of our real user data. And so we've started to compare users that are going through the funnel with traditional wallets like Coinbase Wallet and MetaMask, and comparing it to how they do on Smart Wallet. We're seeing almost a 2x increase in successful first-time on-chain users. That's insane. So imagine this is one of your apps, and these are the users that come to your app. They're now twice as successful just because they're using this new wallet technology. And it's not just the success rate. It used to take over an hour to get started on-chain. This is insane. These are real numbers. Because of all the steps I told you around, like installing a wallet, going to a centralized exchange, now it's down to just a couple of minutes. And Smart Wallet is brand new. We're making tons of improvements. We want to bring this down to seconds for all users. But if you're building an app now, this is a great way to ensure that all of your users have the greatest and best first-time on-chain experience. Now, I've talked about the products we've built that are improving the experience. But the second big pillar of our strategy is introducing our millions of users to all the awesome stuff that you are building. And so, as Max said, one of the big steps we're taking in this direction is we just launched the new wallet desktop portal. And so this is our new one-stop shop for everything on-chain. You can connect any wallet to it, manage your portfolio, buy, swap, trade, mint, anything you want to do on-chain. But even more importantly, this is where you go to discover everything new that's happening on-chain. So this is our big showcase. So with that, let me show you a quick preview. Thank you. So much blood, sweat, and tears that went into this. We think this is going to be the new home of on-chain. It's going to be where all of our Coinbase users and millions of others go every day just to see what's happening, right? Like the way you go and check out Farcaster or Reddit. Tomorrow, you're going to have this tab open, and it's going to tell you everything that people are building. And that's why we want this to be a showcase for everyone, everything that everyone is building. So speaking of showcases, we're running it back with on-chain summers, you know. We're back, it's bigger, better than ever before. We've opened up the tent this time around. We've open sourced our registry, and anyone and everyone is welcome to submit entries. We already have over 1,000 builders and creators that are participating and that have put up their work. And we have over 100,000 users that are already doing on-chain activity on On-Chain Summer. So that's a huge audience, and we're going to grow it even more. You're actually going to hear about this from Aneri later today, so I'll stop there. But I wanted to quickly highlight one project that I think is really cool personally. This is the new Atari game. And so this is Atari, the legendary game company, put up their Asteroids game on-chain. And so users pay $5 to mint to get access to the game. What's really cool about this is that those proceeds then get distributed on-chain transparently across Atari and the studio and the designers and the developers that built the product. And so, you know, we've been talking about fair rewards for creators for years now. And it's so awesome to see it's live, it's on-chain, it's happening now, and it's some of the biggest brands are experimenting with this tech. Folks, as I wrap, I want to reinforce that we really want to help all of you find an amazing platform and get all of the millions of users that you deserve. At Coinbase, we have millions of users that follow us on social. We have millions of users in our app. We have now multiple apps, including the new wallet app that we just talked about. We also do a ton of real-life events at the NBA, at Coachella, at Art Basel. These are all places that we're introducing crypto to brand new mainstream customers, and we want to show your work. I've talked today about the product improvements we've made to make it easier than ever for your users to start going on-chain. I've also talked about the new distribution and discovery platforms that we're going to serve to our millions of users. But the most important ingredient in all of this is you, the builders. None of this will be possible without you. You are building the incredible games, the apps, the use cases, the unforgettable experiences. And so you build those, we will build the platform and give you the platform, and together we're going to build and bring 1 million users on-chain. Thank you. And with that, we're going to hand off to Sarah Wolf.
All right, let's give it up for our first set of speakers from Base and Coinbase. Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Wolf, and I'm excited to be here with all of you today. How is everyone feeling? So we are so glad you could be here with us today, and thank you to everyone who's joining online and on-chain. So you've heard from Base and Coinbase, and next you'll hear from an incredible group of builders from the Base ecosystem. Blackbird, Aerodrome, Atari, Onchain Summer, and Doodles. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce the first speaker, Ben Leventhal, CEO and founder of Blackbird.
All right. Good morning, everyone. There's 400 people in the room here. You all may not know this, but there's 26,000 people streaming online. So it's, yeah, awesome to be with all you beautiful Base people. I'm here to tell you a little bit about Blackbird. Blackbird is building a payments and loyalty platform for the restaurant economy of the future. We're doing this because the restaurant industry, as we know it, is toast. The average restaurant is making less than 4% a year profit, and that number is declining. And despite the fact that I'm obsessed with restaurants, and many of you are obsessed with restaurants, and if you're not, you just plain love them, they're not able to connect with their customers, and they're not able to turn that enthusiasm and connectivity into bottom line profit. So what we want to do with Blackbird is change that. We want to build a piece of software that allows them to connect directly with consumers and to build loyalty, membership, benefits, and programming that get those connections and turn them into regulars. In short, we want to, come on guys. In short, we could go to the next slide. In short, not that short, we want to bring hospitality on chain. This is the consumer Blackbird app. You check in, you join a party, or you create a party of your friends, and when you're done, you use Blackbird to pay, and you can pay in USDC, you can pay with our native token Fly, and if you're not based, you can use credit cards. Behind the scenes, when you check in, we're connecting your identity wallet to the restaurant in real time. And when you go to pay, we're taking your spending wallet and we're using that wallet to transfer money to the restaurant. The restaurant gets this money in their operating checking account for 2% in cold hard cash USD. We think this is the future of restaurants. We think this is the future of restaurant connectivity between consumers and guests. And we've been working on this for about a year now. 146,000 platform check-ins, 58,000 identities created, 128 million fly in circulation, and we're working with about 400 restaurants. We're just getting started, but what we've learned so far is that it's all about magic. Magic has got to be first. We're not competing with each other in this room or on the live stream. We're competing with the world's most magical, robust, powerful platforms. And that's where Blackbird is aiming. We have to be one of those, and if we're not, it's not going to work. We must create magic. We must connect with people. That's where we're headed in the parlance of the blockchain, LFG. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. All right, and next, I'm excited to introduce another Base builder, Alex Cutler, contributor at Aerodrome.
Hello. I am Alex, and I am a contributor at Aerodrome. Aerodrome is a decentralized exchange that serves as the central trading and liquidity hub on Base. By combining the best of Curve, Convex, and Uniswap into a single streamlined design, it helps protocols build deep liquidity on their tokens and provides traders low slippage swaps. It also serves as the primary onboarding engine of Base, having onboarded over 100 protocols to date. But enough about Aerodrome. Let's talk a little bit about DeFi. The digital era has been defined by one thing. If your institution, business, or product can be distilled into code, it will be. And that is because code wins. It is weightless. It demands less infrastructure, fewer people, and is globally accessible. And efficient systems win. But we made a mistake. Because we didn't build the ability to directly transact into the early web, centralized intermediaries, some old, some new, stepped in to capture all of the surplus value this weightless code created. And this is fundamentally why DeFi exists. It disintermediates the value of code. It distills things like a bank account that once required institutional levels of complexity into trustless code bases. And it does this without the need for or value extraction layer of intermediaries, while also delivering an experience that is better than what the biggest, most complex businesses and institutions, with all of their weight and scale, can provide. And in reducing institutional level scale to code, free of the value capture of intermediaries, it creates a surplus of value for the commons, for users, for participants, an open and fair economic system enforced by permissionless, immutable code. But I think we're making another mistake. We're building tokens to support these systems with no real enforceable on-chain utility. We're distributing these tokens via private sales and other permission mechanisms. And we're creating a new set of privileged intermediaries who are able to uniquely capture the value. Not via participation, not as users, but by dumping the tokens that they got special access to. So show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. And the outcome we're creating as an industry too often are products optimized for exit events. And it does not need to be this way. Tokens should have real on-chain immutable utility. 100% of the value flow should flow permissionlessly to participants. Contributors to these projects should be rewarded through utility, not sales, and incentives should be aligned towards longevity and not exits. And this fundamentally is what we've built with Aerodrome. It's an immutable DeFi protocol built entirely around the utility of the token that aligns incentives of all participants. No private sales, no liquid team allocations for team members, and certainly no IOUs on future token utility. It is a protocol that, free of intermediaries, has been able to distribute over 600 million in rewards to base users. And if you don't think something like this is possible without an 8-figure raise, just look at the growth of Aerodrome, both in terms of the scale of the volume that it is facilitating and the growing number of participants that each week participate in its function. So let's not repeat the mistakes of the past. Let's not introduce intermediaries back into the on-chain economy. Let's give DeFi back to the commons.
Thank you, Alex. And next, I'd like to welcome to the stage Tyler Drewitz, Director of Atari X.
Hey everyone, I'm Tyler. I'm the director of Atari X and also special projects at Atari. I have my 10-year-old self's dream job. I play video games for a living and find new fun things to do with them. So Atari is somewhat known around the world and has been around for a while. In 1971, there was no such thing as a video game or video game industry or anything around it. There were the early stages of computers. And Nolan Bushnell figured out a way that computers were entertainment, and that was his focus. How do we turn it into something that's fun and enjoyable and people would play? So Atari pioneered the creation of video games at a time when the concept just wasn't there. The first game that was created was one in 1972 called Pong. And then closely after that, Asteroids, Missile Command, Centipede, Adventure, the first discoverable Easter egg in a video game, among some others, and Breakout, which was developed by really these two, or arguable on who you ask. And they were Atari's, well, Steve was Atari's 40th employee, and they founded some other company a little bit later. But Atari's history is pushing the boundaries of tech, especially early on in early 70s, and what it means for playability, what it means for entertainment, what can be done with these things to make them enjoyable and easily understood. And now we're using that and innovating on-chain. So as Sid showed a little bit earlier, we had a great collaboration with Base and Stack, actually developed a game and helps with rewards and leaderboards, and this launched just over a week ago with Asteroids. So here's a little trailer on it. It's pretty cool, and it's a 45-year-old IP that has had its time in the sun, has been a high-score competition game, has had the basis of esports to start, but it's a new way to play it, to interact with it, a new audience. And it's really cool, and we love having it on Base, especially what it brings and what we can do from it. And it's an easy example, very base level, no pun intended, where we can start to grow and figure out what the ecosystem is, how people interact with it. That's why we're also building things like the Atari Club, which was around in the early 80s, to be loyalty and engagement. And everything we do, especially on-chain, will be connected to everything that Atari does overall, whether it's Web 2, Web 3, or even back on the old consoles like the 2600 or arcade units. So this is just the start, and we've really liked this partnership and what we're building. So at Atari, we're going to continue to push the boundaries and innovate, as we did early on, and then we're going to bring history into the future. So what we're very excited is we have this 52-year-old brand that has a long legacy and a long history of playability, easy to play, hard to master, and it's a really good way to showcase these new technologies that are coming out. So we're looking forward to partnering with those who are doing very cool things in the space and bringing our IP, our legacy, to those experiences to really showcase what others are building. That's what we're excited for on Base.
Amazing. Thank you, Tyler. All right. And now I'm excited to introduce Aneri Amin, Director of Creators and Social at Coinbase, to talk about On-Chain Summer.
Hey everyone, I'm Aneri, and I'm so excited to share some of the learnings that we've had from On-Chain Summer so far. So you've heard people on the stage talk about why on-chain, but I'm going to talk a little bit about why summer. So yes, Base did launch mainnet last August in the middle of summer, but it's also because we think that summer encourages an energy and a state of mind to break outside your comfort zone and do things a little bit differently than you normally would. And we think that this is exactly the type of mindset that you need to create those types of breakout experiences that are going to accelerate the timeline of bringing the world on-chain. Last year, On-Chain Summer was 23 days, and it kicked off an explosion of creativity and building. Shout out if anyone was part of On-Chain Summer last year. It's incredible. But we're so excited about this year, not just because On-Chain Summer is all summer long, but because it's easier than ever to come on-chain. Base has been scaling and bringing fees down to zero. Builders keep building, and there's so many Lego blocks to build upon. And most importantly, all of you, everyone here in this room and watching online, you guys are really building the incredible experiences that are building Base and bringing the world on-chain. And so On-Chain Summer is for and by every single person here. And it's gonna take all of us focused on building the types of experiences and culture and tools and memes and communities and art that's going to accelerate that timeline and bring the world on chain. We've loved co-creating and feeding off the energy that you guys have been giving. I think some people have released some on-chain summer songs recently. Earlier this summer, we released this on-chain summer creative files, and we rewarded the creators who put this together with a mint. And this slide represents just a fraction of the creativity that you showed, and it hasn't stopped since. From kicking off on-chain summer with what became the largest on-chain build-a-thon in the world, to approaching 1,000 projects on our registry, and having these experiences showcased across the on-chain network, and to helping creators earn already more than $2.5 million. It's been an incredible start. So I'm gonna share 3 key learnings that you can take with you as you continue building your on-chain summer experiences. The first is how important it is to build experiences that are open and accessible to all. So think about how to make an experience so dead simple that any user can do their first on-chain action in under a minute with no instruction manuals needed. In particular, we've seen that low-cost mints are really powerful drivers to help people come on chain, and fresh content is what keeps them retained and keeps coming back. One great example is Hypersub, an on-chain subscription platform on Base. Woo, yeah, some incredible creators out here on Hypersub. This summer, it gave people access to a month of exclusive content and projects and recurring drops from creators, all for the price of 1 coffee. The second are projects with real-life components. I know most of us are probably behind our screens and keyboards all day, I know I am, but the moments that really stick out are these face-to-face experiences where we're all together, and so many projects are leaning into that this summer. So one example is the Moshi community who set up a block party in Berlin, and anytime someone walked past, they would try and onboard them to Coinbase Wallet, which was incredible to see. And Coop Records launched a mint that unlocks access to 3 secret boiler room sets in LA. So if anyone's sticking around next week, there's one next Wednesday. But some incredible in-person gatherings happening because of on-chain summer. And then the third we've seen is that there's so many projects that launch and keep shipping based on learnings. So one example is Base Colors. They launched a collection of more than 16 million colors on the internet, and they saw that so many people were using that as a way to onboard their friends. So they quickly built a gifting flow so that you could send a color via text and have your friend create a smart wallet with that NFT in it. Action produces information, and we've seen so many of the successful projects building in the open, and they're not one and done. So there's 100 more projects that I could talk about, but I hope that you got a taste of some of the innovation that's been happening this summer, and it helps inspire the experiences that you're creating this summer. On-chain summer is a movement that's owned by every single person here. And like I said, last year's on-chain summer was 23 days long, and today's August 1st, so we have 31 more days this summer for on-chain summer. As we like to say, it's still day 1, and the job's not finished. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Aneri.
Next, I'd like to bring onto the stage Yele Bademosi, co-creator of Onboard.
How are we all doing? Awesome, awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Yele, and I'm a co-creator of Onboard. It's good to be here, and I want to give a shout out to the Base team for the opportunity to share our story with you. So let me level set. Did you guys know that 47% of the world's population live on less than $6 a day? That is 3.5 billion people that are living under the poverty line. To make it even worse, majority of the world's currencies are actually losing value year over year. I'm from Nigeria, and in the last 3 years, our currency has lost about 75% of its value. So for anybody that has the ability to make money, they're losing money. To make it even more worse, you have crazy inflation rates. So you have double digits to triple digit inflation rates, which makes things that used to be affordable for more people a lot more expensive. So things are now 3 times what they were just 8 months ago. But there's a better way. And this is why at Onboard, we are super excited about the on-chain economy. We have a few key beliefs at Onboard. Number one is that your geographical location should not determine the quality of life and access to financial services. Number two is that we believe that access to world-class financial services is a fundamental human right. And we think that we should expand the on-chain economy and make it universally accessible. And that's our vision. Our vision is to enable anyone, anywhere, come on-chain and live a radically better life. The first part of that vision, we solved it, and that's by creating Onboard. Onboard is the world's first Onboard is the world's first consumer-scale P2P on and off-ramp protocol that allows anyone to come on-chain with 0 fees, less than $1, and 2-minute finality in terms of settlement. This means now, for the first time, regardless of where you are, regardless of your economic background, you can come on-chain. When you compare it to a bunch of other off-ramps or on-ramps that are available that are charging 14% in fees, you can see why this is a massive innovation. And I'm here to tell you that it's working. In the last 12 months, we've onboarded about 50,000 people and done about 20 million in escrow volume. When you understand that most of these transactions are between $1 to $5, that is a lot of transactions on chain. And so right now, I have a demo going on here whereby I was sending off-ramping $10 worth of USDC on chain. This is done without any middleman, not going through a centralized third party. And the way it works is that we have an innovative technology primitive called smart contract escrow accounts. And so what happens is that money from my wallet is sent into the smart contract escrow of the merchant. You can think of a merchant as an LP in an AMM. And so these merchants have both USDC and the local currency, in this case, Naira. You can see there's a countdown of about 15 minutes. And as you keep watching, you would notice that this entire transaction is done in less than 30 minutes. Again, without any fees. So what this means is, for the first time, people can access the on-chain economy, and it's insane. We also went one step further and created, oh, it just came in my account. And we went one step further and created a card that allows you to spend your crypto like cash. So now you can earn your USDC, you can get interest on your USDC and spend it like you would normal cash in your bank account. But there's a big problem, and this is the harsh truth. Creating a universally accessible gateway is very similar to creating a rocket ship to take humanity to Mars without an economy on Mars. And so even if you make the on-chain economy universally accessible, if we don't have high-quality financial applications and on-chain experiences that can keep people on-chain, we're never going to actualize this vision. And this is what Onboard 2.0 is about. We are inviting the world's best builders who are ambitious enough, that have the courage to rebuild the financial infrastructure for the future. Not just for those who have the money, but for the 3.5 billion people who deserve to live a radically better life. This mission, this vision is not something that we can do alone. This is bigger than a single person, a single platform, a single protocol to actualize this. And so if you are a big dreamer, if you're ambitious enough, please come find us, come and talk to us, and let us create the building blocks that can make our ambitious dream become realities on chain. Thank you.
Thank you, Yele. And for our final talk, last but not least, I'm excited to introduce Julian Holgan, CEO of Doodles.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Just want to first start by thanking Jesse and the entire team at Base and Coinbase for having myself and the rest of the Doodles team here. I got to say the energy has been electric. This has been a really, really great couple days, and I know we're going to have another couple days that are a lot of fun. And I hope a lot of people that are watching at home get to experience this one day, because it truly is an incredible community of builders. So thank you all for being here. I'm Julian Holgan. I'm the CEO of Doodles, and what I'm here to talk to you about today is what developing on-chain internet native IP actually looks like. What is creating an entertainment brand on-chain? How does that actually come to life? Doodles being a proof point, and a lot of our peers in this space being a great example of what that might actually look like now and in the future. But let's start by talking about some of the issues that exist in the traditional media world and why companies like Doodles exist. The model for incubating new intellectual property and entertainment on the internet or in the traditional media world in general is getting very unclear. And you're finding things like attention shifting from the box office to social media, from tuning into television to social media. Most people spend their day scrolling on their phones. It is the new network effect of our society. People aren't just going to the movie theaters because it's Friday night anymore. People aren't just tuning in to cable television because it's prime time anymore. And increasingly so, people are tuning into streaming platforms less and less, unless they're going there for a very specific reason. And what that's done is actually drive the acquisition cost of every user really, really high. It's very hard to take people out of how they're spending their time day to day and push them into a platform where your product, the entertainment product, actually exists. And what that's done is create an environment where studios are actually prioritizing only adapting things with massive fan bases. A Barbie movie, a Super Mario movie, more Marvel movies, another Garfield movie, another Ghostbusters movie. Last year, out of the top 20 films at the box office, not one of them was based on new IP. Everything was an adaptation, a sequel, or something that had a built-in fan base tied to it. So what that's unfortunately done is squeeze out a lot of emerging creators, a lot of new franchise development, because there's not just a great avenue, there's no flywheel that exists anymore to grow an audience around a new IP and ultimately monetize that audience. And if you're a creator that wants to get your content out there, and let's say a Netflix or a YouTube or one of these platforms believe in you, in order to get your idea financed and ultimately made and distributed, you have to give up a lot of the upside and a direct relationship with your potential audience one day, which could be crushing for a creator. And if you want to go at it on your own and just put your content on YouTube, put your content on the different social media platforms, it takes a long time to build an audience and an even longer time to start to make money. So what you're just finding is a lot of these emerging creators, a lot of people are just falling off and not having the opportunity to make art anymore. And that is not a good ecosystem to be in. We think there's a better way to do it, and we think that way is on-chain. So what does on-chain IP actually look like? Doodles is living proof of it. Some of our peers in the industry are living proof of it. And it doesn't look all that different from what you see day to day with your favorite franchises, with things that you're actually a fan of. We started as a PFP project, a collection of NFTs, and we ultimately became a universe. We have over 220 million views on YouTube. We've produced over 30,000 ticket sales for our first live attraction that we debuted in Chicago. We've brought some of the biggest brand partners in the world on chain in Adidas and Crocs, Rubik's Cube. We just launched a partnership with Arizona Iced Tea today that's trending all over Twitter. You guys should check it out. And just yesterday and the day before, we've actually sold 15,000 NFT tickets to access a digital premiere for our debut animation special. And if we had just released that content on YouTube, it would have taken us 12 million streams to generate the revenue we were able to generate just by actually monetizing content and putting value on content again and doing it in a very frictionless and seamless way through on-chain product. So this is all well and good. Doodles has an incredible team to actually build out this vision. We have a lot of experience, but it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of know-how, a lot of resources to actually pull that together. It's taken a lot of work to get Doodles to where it is. To create a more equitable environment where revenue and value actually flows to IP owners and then ultimately their community, you need technology to scale. And that's what we're developing with our platform called the Doodle Studio. Right now, it's built to really serve our use cases, but in the future, the idea is that we are going to open up this platform to help other creators actually develop their IP and empower their communities. If you think of some of the big problems in the fandom ecosystem, we're all fans of something. Sports franchises, we're fans of musicians, we're fans of animation franchises. We go to the movies, we buy the merchandise, we do all the things that you could possibly do as a fan. And what that leads to is a pretty passive consumer-focused relationship with that IP. you don't actually know who your most loyal supporters are. You don't know who is doing all of the things in the ecosystem. And there's probably a better way to do that. And if you can bring all of that engagement and all of that participation on chain, you have a way of knowing exactly who your core community is, exactly who's participating in your ecosystem day in and day out. And because you know who your most loyal supporters are, you're gonna be able to reward those people. And how you reward those people will differ project to project, but we're building a suite of products that are actually going to bring our community closer to IP, almost making them one. And we're gonna do that by creating creator tools, incentivizing user-generated content, making sure that there's attribution tied to people buying merchandise, trading collectibles, sharing content, etc. And one of the big features of our platform that we believe is gonna empower our community and ourselves as a business is Doodles TV. We announced this a couple weeks ago, and what the platform essentially is a token-gated media platform where the first place that you actually see tentpole media and creator content is on our platform. If you're part of our original collection, you get access to that platform for free. If you're not, and you're just interested in Doodles in a kind of less expensive way, you can get in through pretty low-priced NFTs. And then after our community owns that moment and has that moment of being there first, the premiere moment, we'll put the reruns on Spotify, we'll put the reruns on YouTube after that, but only after we as a community were able to own that moment. Now, a platform and a feature like this don't really matter unless you have really quality content. And us as a Web3 space have not quite caught up to quality content yet, and I can confidently say that we are about to change that dynamic in a very material way. So what I'm gonna end the presentation on is a trailer to our debut animation special that's actually premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival, one of the biggest film festivals in the world, called Dullsville and the Doodleverse. So here we go. Hope you enjoy.
What is the point of art?
For hanging in an office to fill up empty walls.
And where does art come from?
Dream pump, dream pump.
Bring me more Jargoo! No Jargoo! No merch! No merch! No future for you!
Yes, Mr. Ray.
This is how Dream Pump operates.
I have terminal rate syndrome.
I thought you might have been dead.
Oh no, I gotta go.
You can do this.
You're fired, Hat.
At least I know this works. Hey, Donna, I'm just in a really weird situation. Do you think our town is sexy and cool?
Gross.
Sorry, nerd. This party's invite only.
Where do we get this invite?
You gotta know somebody who knows somebody.
Tune in this September. Thank you.
Thanks, Julian. All right, let's give another round of applause to our ecosystem speakers. We're so excited to have you here today. And before we close out, we wanted to end with a special announcement. We will be announcing our On-Chain Summer Build-a-thon winners. And so with that, I'd like to welcome back to the stage Tom Vieira and Jesse Pollock.
I see based people.
Okay. Wow, that was pretty awesome, right? Yeah, come on.
Give it up.
I mean, what a show. We had incredible content from Coinbase talking about how they're bringing the business on chain. We had 5 or 6 fire, we called them lightning talks, but I hope they were hard-hitting, interesting, relevant stuff from people building in the ecosystem about what they're doing to bring the world on chain. And what I'm really excited about next is there's also thousands of other builders all around the world who aren't here, but have been helping over the last month to bring the world on chain through the Build-a-thon. So I want to hand it over to Tom, who's going to talk a little bit about what was the Build-a-thon and who won the big prizes.
Nice. So, it's awesome to see all these builders sharing what they've been doing. I know a number of people out here building. And so, bringing people on with more useful, accessible experiences on chain is really what we're trying to steward in our ecosystem. And so let's see some of these building blocks in action. So, we kicked off On-Chain Summer this year with a month-long worldwide hackathon, part celebration, part competition for the month of June, where we invited builders from all over the globe to participate, to build, create, write, share, onboard people on chain. And really excited to share the finalists for our tracks in the Buildathon. So basically the way it works at a high level, we had 8 tracks, and we had payments with Stripe, commerce with Shopify, creator with Zora, social with Farcaster.
Come on, come on.
As you hear your name,
welcome to the sponsors.
Some of the judges. Give a round of applause. Social with Farcaster. Gaming with Third Web, trading with Aerodrome and Synthetics, discovery with Fleek, and unplugged with Nouns. So hey, what's going on, y'all? We're getting some of the judge and sponsors up here. Totally. So we're also super grateful to our production partner, DevFolio. So we'd like to invite Denver from DevFolio up, all the way from India, with us here today in person. Really awesome production partner throughout to make this work. So as you can see, these stats, we had over 7,500 registrants. We had over 1,250 projects submitted. Initially, we put up 200 ETH, but we were blown away by the quality and quantity of projects that we upped it to 250 ETH for builders. That's 250 ETH for builders. All right, so really great stuff. So
before we get to the prizes, can you go back to that screen? I just want to say, this is the largest on-chain hackathon that has ever been run. The largest on-chain hackathon that has ever been run. Incredible. And again,
we're just getting started.
To think about where we were last year with 40 builders in a little room at 5 in the morning to where we are here with literally thousands of builders all around the world who are creating this on-chain economy, I'm blown away.
It's pretty incredible. So now drum roll, please. To announce the winners, we're going to throw their logos up on the screen here. So payments track. Here we go. Let's give a big round of applause for the payments winners, making it simple and easy to send payments on chain. The forgotten killer use case for crypto, I feel like sometimes. Next up, commerce, making it easy to sell anything on chain. Here are our finalists in the commerce track. Creator track, part sponsored by Zora. We've got the winners, the finalists here. Check it out. Helping creators create more sustainably on chain. Keeping it moving, we get the social track. Woo! Community connection. Round of applause for our finalists in the social track. Keep your eyes peeled. All right, the gaming track. Fun first, games on chain. We can see them here. Big round of applause for our gaming finalists. All right, we'll keep it moving. Now we've got trading. So in partnership with Synthetics and Aerodrome, here are our finalists in the trading track. Trade, invest, do things on chain. So this was a fun one, the discovery track. This was all about helping people find interesting, compelling, enjoyable things to do on chain, whether it's apps, experiences, and here are our finalists right here for the discovery track. Big round of applause. All right, in our 8th track, I just want to take a moment on unplugged track. We were a little uncertain at first. The idea here was connect IRL with URL, onboard people. For our apps, like Sam was speaking about earlier, people want eyeballs and more users for their apps. So this track was all about getting more people on chain and showing them what's possible with real world use cases and real world impact.
These were the people who woke up every day and said, how do I bring 1, 5, 10, 100, 1,000 people on chain?
It starts small and builds from there. So we were so blown away by the depth and breadth of projects that we actually doubled the prizes. We're going to have 20 finalists in our track. Let's give a round of applause for them. All over the globe. All right, so just a little more as we round this out. So, of course, we have rewards that Coinbase Developer Platform put up if you integrated developer tools like the Smart Wallet, On-Chain Kit, and Paymaster. And we're going to give 20 ETH to anyone that built anything, split evenly, anyone that built anything on-chain as part of the Buildathon, just for their participation and contribution, because we really want to encourage everybody building on-chain.
Everyone is a builder.
Everybody's a builder, that's right. Big round of applause for everybody that participated in the On-Chain Summer Buildathon.
Everyone is a builder and Base is for everyone.
That's right. And of course, we want to commemorate this on-chain. So DevFolio is working to be able to provide an on-chain stamp of your contribution and participation as a builder who submitted a project in the Buildathon.
And that will show up on your base name.
100%. So it's not just the monetary rewards, it's also building out your on-chain credentials and profile. So just take one more moment to thank our sponsors, Zora, Synthetics, Aerodrome, Stripe, Shopify, Fleek, ThirdWeb, Nouns, Farcaster, definitely Denver from DevFolio for putting together an amazing, amazing effort. I also want to thank Bountycaster for running a decentralized track.
Yeah, Bountycaster. We love Bountycaster.
We had over 200,000 USD worth of bounties that builders and projects and apps like yourself posted, bringing the total prizes for builders this summer to well over 1 million USD.
And a huge shout out to everyone who submitted a community bounty too.
100%, 100%. So wherever you are in the world, please raise a glass of on-chain champagne or sparkling cider if you don't enjoy. One more big round of applause for our winners, our partners. And remember, stay tuned because we're just getting started. More Buildathons coming to a base node near you.
Woo! Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. Oh, Tom, I need the clicker. Thank you all for being here. Wow, that was incredible. Thanks for being such a great audience. The show's not quite over, so just to give you guys a quick run of the rest of the day,